shows. Your hosts for this evening, Shaggy.
Who the f*** are you? You nothing. You nothing. You are nothing. And you will never be anything. Never.
Colin.
Anybody know who you are? You miserable, presumptuous, no talent. You obviously don't have the talent.
And Mike, the Ape Man.
You are everything that's gone wrong in this world. You are self-consumed, no talent, mediocre piece of shit.
PTR Radio.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to PTR Radio here on the fabulous Interweb. Oh, it's going to be a fun show. We're going to talk tourism. We're going to talk zoology. We're going to talk Olympics. We're going to talk fashion. You know, who says we don't cater to the female side of our audience? We're going into Fashion Week this week. We're going to talk marriage.
Fashion.
Yes, fashion. We're going to have a fashion quiz.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you posted that thing up.
Yep. We're going to talk vegans, Mike. We're going to talk about vegan methodology and how there's maybe a few holes in there. You know?
There are many holes, and I'm not talking about the Swiss cheese that they eat.
And we're going to talk homes. We're going to talk. We got everything. We got everything in this show. So there is no reason for you guys not to be tuning in, telling all your friends, "Hey, listen, PTR Radio is solving the problems of the world tonight. You got to tune in. They got everything. This is like MTV, VH1, the Outdoor Network, to TLC, the Cooking Channel, and the OWN Network, Oprah's network, had a baby, and that's what we
own.
Own. Yeah.
Owns.
Yeah.
Who owned the Chiefs?
So
you guys don't know that movie, so whatever.
No.
Slapshot. If you haven't seen it, you're living wrong. Anyway.
Yes. And we're going to talk. Nobody answered my question on whether we could talk about the Department of Energy.
The Department of Hold on.
Nobody answered my question about whether that's an allowable show topic or not. I'm curious. I posted it like last Thursday.
I'm going. Oh! Hell no! Hell no! No!
Can't.
I remember now why? No, absolutely not. Can't happen. No. You
can't.
Wait. Let me. No.
But they would have talked about.
I don't. There.
But Mike, let's start off things. You brought up an article early in the week. New Jersey, okay, your home state, has a problem that they think you think might have like an interesting solution that can also solve another problem that we have around the country of skyrocketing housing costs. Well, so tell us about one, the problem that's going on in New Jersey, and then how you think maybe we can attack it.
Okay, so for the longest time, right down the road from me, there's been a lot in the next town over that every couple of weeks you drive by, you just start seeing more and more shipping containers, and they're just piling up higher and higher to the point now where it's like a skyline. Now, I remember when this project got approved, part of the approval was they had to plant trees at the roadside so you wouldn't see the shipping containers, okay, as you're driving. Well, in order for those trees to actually work, they would have to be redwoods that have been there for 300 years now, because they're easily 30 stacks are 15, 20, maybe even 30 high. I haven't gone to count. I'd love to see an updated picture from Google Earth, but it's ridiculous. Now, apparently, the trucking companies at the ports here in New Jersey were saying that the empty containers are the biggest issue with the backlog of getting stuff off of the ships. Why? Because it's cheaper for the what is my wife messaging me? The captioning is covering me. What captioning? Turn captioning off if you're watching on YouTube. That you can click the little CC. That is so. Yes. So what's happening here is it's cheaper for them overseas to assemble new containers and send them here and not ship the empties back. So apparently this guy in the town next to us, he's just collecting money for people to store these containers. Brilliant idea when you think about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Money for nothing and your chicks for free right there. But the question becomes,
and you can stack them, so it's not like you'll just run out of like horizontal land. You can go vertical.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
That's literally what they're built for, is stacking. So it's not like a parking lot where once you fill up the parking lot with cars, there's nowhere else to put more cars unless you build a multi-story parking lot, which costs money. He could just have like a field, and as long as he's got a crane, he could keep piling them. And soon we could have the stacks out of Ready Player One.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it's going to be. So this is the most current. If you go, let me see if this works. Can I paste this just as? Yes. So this is the current view from Google Maps, and this was taken. It says 2022, but I don't know how recent this is. But you can easily see. Right?
Yeah.
So those are all shipping containers. That's it.
Oh, he's got lots more room. He's got tons of room.
So,
yeah.
So let me see if I can find a place to drop myself. well, let me and show you like the view from the road.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because it would be nifty if it is a skyscraper, skyline of, that would be
actually
cool.
Okay, so I tried to do this the other day, and I found a business nearby on the main road. And okay, so here, and let me see if this works. This will kind of give you an idea of where I'm looking from, because I don't care if you know where I snapped this from, but this one was from July of last year when the Google car drove by. And this is from the street, basically from that first picture where the little tack from Dance Stop is kind of showing you.
Okay.
Oh, that was Colin sending.
Yep, that was Colin sending something. So,
what?
All right, so now I got it.
I don't know what that was.
I got it.
All right.
Okay.
But you can easily see in that back corner back there, you can see how they're stacking.
Oh, yeah.
It's easily twice as high now.
Oh, that's cool.
So, all right. So you get an idea how many are there.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. When you talk about the stacks, right, that could very well. All right, now how do I get out of Street View? That's the question.
That is a good question. I can never figure that out.
Zoom out. You spin the wheel of your mouse and you come back out.
Okay. Let me see if there's another spot, maybe from the back side, that I could see this. But anyway, as we're talking about this, so my question was, what else could you use these for, right?
Yeah.
And my initial thought was, yeah, that was my initial thought.
Well, here's the thing: is I actually watched what's the problem with, or it was like 10 problems of shipping container houses, and there are quite a few problems with shipping container houses. Like, you're living in a shipping container that's only 8 foot wide by about 8 foot tall, And by the time you insulate it, you're down to about 7 feet in both directions. And they're granted, they can stack, all right, one on top of the other, but they use the side wall. All the walls are load bearing. So the moment you start to cut out anything for a window or a door, then you've lost structural rigidity in there. And God forbid you have to, cut out the floor to stack them on top of each other to make a 2-level. The stacking doesn't work so well. So you end up creating a shell of them, but it's no better than if you were to just use, siding, because you've recreated the entire structure inside anyway.
Right. Well, so here's the big problem I see, Shaggy, and that is, imagine that you made yourself a house out of multiple shipping containers, right? Now, I know one of the stereotypical problems that husbands have is dealing with their wives wanting to move the furniture around. Now, if you had your house made out of multiple shipping containers, now you have to deal with the wife wanting to move the shipping containers around to reconfigure the entire house.
Oh, no, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen because my back hurts in moving a couch. And I ain't going to move no shipping container.
So it does make, all right, so you bring up a good point. Once you start cutting holes so there would have to be some reinforcement done.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, rust is probably a concern.
Oh, for sure. And most of them have been home to toxic chemicals or something like that, so they have to be aggressively cleaned to begin with, which costs money.
But Colin brings up a good point. This could be low-cost housing similar to, I don't want to say like a trailer park, but something along those lines where you wouldn't have to worry about structural integrity because the home is only one container. Right? So you're not cutting any walls. You're putting up walls inside.
So you're saying houses for homeless where we don't care about their comfort?
I didn't say don't care about because inside.
Go ahead, John. Go ahead, Mike. Okay,
John.
So, but there's the complete other direction too, and just go. Right now, there's been a shortage in COVID times of RVs. It's like, so people buy what are called destination trailers, which are trailers which are taken somewhere to be the RV, but it just sits there for years. So instead of saying, well, this is a house, we can say, well, this is a vacation home. And as a vacation home, it makes a lot more sense.
My vacation home?
Or what if you do actually like cut them in half to make small RVs? These could be covert homes.
Oh, talk about stealth vans.
There's a lot of companies that just do the transportation of these destination trailers around the world. So a lot of people, like, they'll, it's the whole Florida during the winter, then they go back north.
Snowbirds?
Snowbirds.
Yeah. So, when the if we didn't already have a shortage of trucking in the first place, we could have the truckers go and pick them up, and just get some extra money by taking my home up north for the winter.
Oh, I think we already have those. They're called pods. I think U-Haul has them.
Yeah, I don't think you're allowed to live in those, but yeah, it'd be cool.
But you can't live in them.
Well, plenty of people live in storage units. I think we've seen videos.
I was going to say, you can't legally live in them.
So yeah, knowing how many places have rules against or ordinances against tiny homes, I'm not sure how many places you could legally live in a container either.
Well, so there was actually, it's funny you bring that up because there was actually a fire at a self-store facility in town. And the rumor is that there were several people living in the self-store.
Well, at the cost of...
And one of their space heaters caused the fire. Of course, it was just a rumor. I am not saying I agree with it. I'm not saying I buy into it. I don't or believe it. But I do know that, yes, people have...
Well, they've glorified it on YouTube and on TikTok and all those other ones. They glorify, it's the same. People say, "Oh, look what I did to save rent money." Okay, yeah, but you lived in a storage unit.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and that's a thing. The storage unit, places have put in lots of security to detect when that happens, and that is actually a real problem for them, I guess.
Yeah,
well,
weird.
As people lose their houses, they got to go where their stuff is. I mean, that's.
Yep.
I mean, I hate to say that, but you lose your apartment. You can get a storage unit for $100 a month or what have you, and it's got electric. Now they don't expect you to be using electric all the damn time.
No,
in these things, obviously, but
no.
Desperate times call for desperate measures, I guess. I mean,
you look at what the cost of housing is, the the availability market, and especially some of these larger metropolitan areas where the cost of rent is ridiculous. They had an article about a guy who lived in a 100 square foot, luxury apartment in New York and was paying something like $4,000 a month in rent. I'm like, okay, it's 100 square feet.
That ain't even enough room to have a bathroom. You got to have a murder toilet if you're living in 100 square feet.
Yeah, I was just like,
all right, and you're paying $4,000 a month for that, dude. Colin, Mama Blair, they could take their trailer, park it in New York, and rent it out for $3,000.
Oh yeah,
Jesus.
Here we go. There was a Reddit article. 16 tech entrepreneurs share a mansion in New York. Did you read this one, Mike?
I did not.
Yeah. So, because everybody wants to own a mansion. Everybody wants to look good. So these guys decided, okay, the way we're going to look good is we're all going to live in this mansion. And it was like, but 16, even a mansion in New York City does not have 16 bedrooms.
No.
Right? So it's like, okay, well, this is so-and-so's closet bedroom. And these two couples share this bedroom. And then one bedroom was shared by a couple and a dude. And they weren't like a throuple. It was just like... and they were all paying a ridiculous amount. But, they're entrepreneurs. They don't make smart decisions, so I can't see their entrepreneurship going very far.
In Connecticut, Teresa is paying $1,300 a month for a house, a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, small ranch. $1,300 a month rent has. I mean that. Okay, so in New Jersey, our 1,300-ish square foot home on a 100 by 100 lot, we're paying just over $7,000 a year in property taxes. Several acres for a home twice as large in Virginia, we saw for under $1,000 a year in property taxes.
Yeah.
And then you all wonder why I hate talking about politics and budgets and all of this stuff. New Jersey is a cesspool, okay? It is a cesspool. There's no other way to describe it but a damn cesspool.
Now, because I'm not familiar with New Jersey, are you paying income tax and property tax, or just the property tax?
I'm only talking about property tax. Do I pay state income tax too? Yes.
Okay. So I know there's some states that have high property taxes, but they don't have income tax, so it equals out. But
we also have we have sales tax on everything except food and clothes. Mm-hmm. We have luxury taxes on every freaking thing that they possibly could apply it to. In some towns, they tax you if you have a well. Why? Because you are using the sewer,
but not the water.
And they have no way to measure the sewer because your sewer tax is a percentage of your water bill.
Yep.
So they tax you on a well that you have
What
to
if
pay
you have
for
a
and maintain.
well and a septic?
Well, they probably don't allow septic.
Nah, some areas, but that's further south where the taxes are reasonable.
Gotcha. But okay, so going back to our shared housing thing, okay? So here in 2022, in the COVID times, well, I'll put it this way: I have now been notified that they have no intention of us to ever coming back in the office.
Yeah, I got lucky, and they have continued our. After 2 years of working remote 5 days a week, they implemented a pilot program and said, "Okay, we've got to see if you can work remote 2 days a week to see if it works." And they were going to yank that out from underneath us and make us go back 5 days a week, but they said, "Okay, we'll go ahead and extend the pilot out through through summer to get to summer, and so you can continue to work from home Monday and Friday." And I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I'm not going to complain because I would rather have something than nothing. So I will be happy that I get Mondays and Fridays. I won't bitch too much. But if you ask me about it, I'm still going to point out the stupidity of that it worked just fine for 2 years.
There's some people where you are who just went back to work, and I was in a meeting, and he's like, "Well, I'm back in the office, so I can't get any work done."
Well, actually, it was really funny because we're still under a mask mandate here, at least for another week or so, in the office. And one of my bosses was like, "Hey, do you think we should start to go back to having in-person meetings in the office? Because we've got fairly large rooms where we could spread out." And my guy who's similar to position than me, who reports to this guy, said, "Well, why don't we wait till the mask mandate is lifted and then we can figure out other ways to ruin productivity?"
Well, here's the other thing. If you're only talking about like 2 days a week, I'm assuming it's going to be a rotating 2 days, so not everybody is going to be off Monday and Friday. So now you have a logistical scheduling nightmare of what day. And it's bad enough trying to find a half hour or an hour on a calendar that everybody required doesn't have a meeting. Now I got to pick the day that 1 hour that all the required people are in the office.
No.
Are you out your ever-loving mind?
All my staff, we're all out Mondays and Fridays. We're all remote Monday and Friday. So, my whole unit is Mondays and Friday out. I'm actually going to make a sign to post on the entrance to our area that says, "This area is in-house Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and works remotely Monday and Friday." So that everybody who just walks in knows this is our schedule.
Because let me tell you something. There's no way in hell I'm going back. I flat out told her when.
Nobody that was given the opportunity said no. Said, no, I want to come in 5 days a week. I really love it here. No, everybody said, hell no. I want to go home. I want to stay at home. In fact, now we have a space shortage. We have like 40 hiring positions that we're going to hire. We don't have that. We don't have any free desks. In fact, we're already at a desk deficit. And so I told my bureau chief, I'm like, I got a perfectly nice office at home. I don't have to be here. I will give up my chair, as will all my staff.
All right,
so where I'm at, I'm a consultant, and so they basically said we were at a desk shortage before we were sent out from COVID. And so what I'm hearing is they've decided that even after all the employees go back in, all the consultants are just going to stay out.
Yeah, that's the going rate, is that consultants, you guys get to be special still. You get paid more. You to come and go as you please, and you get to stay at home from work. But don't worry, full-time employees are still respected and held at a higher esteem.
So, two things.
Sorry, there's no chip right
you
there.
are paid more than I am.
Not more than your company.
Teresa messaged in saying, Governor Lamont in Connecticut lifted the mask mandate, but it's impossible to be able to go anywhere without one because businesses can still implement it. That's the case in New Jersey as well, that businesses can still implement it. Companies, all right. Now, she also said that where she works, they're mandated to wear one, and somebody gave her guff because she had a cloth mask on and not the blue surgical one under it. Now, Governor Murphy is getting ready to lift the mask mandates here in Jersey as well. Now, today they only reported like 500 something new positive cases, of which I'm willing to bet 300 were, damn it, we're talking about COVID. 300 something were like from months ago, I'm sure. But I don't even remember what I was going to say now. Oh, so New York City, about going back to the office.
Yeah.
The mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, actually said, like, he's considering revoking some tax breaks or some tax penalties if companies don't start bringing their workers back to the office in Manhattan, because all of the small businesses, the luncheonettes, the cleaners, the newsstands, the bars, they're all suffering because the people aren't there. And I'm like, dude, if you say that you're just going to tax the hell out and penalize people for not bringing them back in the office, well, okay, so that's exactly, how come you're seeing it and I'm not?
Because I've got the toy. It just came up on the toy.
You've got the toy.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's exactly what I'm pointing out here. But if his approach, that's the wrong way to do it. If you threaten financial penalties for bringing people back, if they don't bring them back to the office, these companies are just going to shut up shop and say, well, screw you. Guess what? We don't exist in New York City anymore.
No, we just hire remotely in New York City. You know?
I mean,
I was watching some financial expert the other day, and he said that the times of the 5-day in-office work week are gone. They will not come back after this, and they should have been gone a while ago because they weren't necessary for a lot of jobs. Now, that's not true of every job. All right. If you're a laborer, if you are in the manufacturing business, if you are that kind of stuff, then you still have to be on site because nothing's going to build the widget for you. All right. But if you are a desk jockey like us, you can do that anywhere. I mean, I see ads on TV all the time. Hey, be at home and do, medical stenography. Earn money while you're at home. Those ads I didn't think were real. They're real. Turns out they were talking truth. I should have listened to Miss Wanda. She knew the truth all along.
And those businesses, they're trying to make food, and are like they're getting hurt because no one is coming to the offices anymore. Well, more food trucks, and what they need to do is get the food trucks to go through the neighborhoods where people are working.
Be like the ice cream man, damn it.
Exactly like the ice cream truck. They just need to have some song playing to let us know that they're coming through, and we'll come running out for our food.
Go!
Just my God!
Roam the subdivisions.
My head just went. Like as soon as you started talking about the songs playing, I'm just thinking. So the taco truck is going to be playing La Cucaracha, and the little man in my head said, "That's racist, Mike," and I know it, and I'm wrong for even thinking that stereotype. I truly am.
We know that's not the only Mexican song, but if you were to pick one that would be stuck and everyone would recognize as, hey, the Mexican man is here, then that. And I'm saying that like the ice cream man, okay, like the Mexican man. Be like the kids going down the street. The Mexican man is here. The Mexican man is here. The Mexican. Give me one Cheerio, please. That's what you'd end up with the soccer moms going, I like a burrito. That's what it would be like.
Listen.
So yes,
I need to be punished for that evil thought.
All right. Well, then let's talk truckers, because that's another job that can't be remotely done. Not until Elon Musk, gets fully working the remote control truck, and everybody just switches over from semi-truck simulator to actually remote semi-truck driver.
Yeah.
Or like a
Unfortunately,
drone
the
pilot.
problem is
Yeah.
not the problem is the person who drew the lines on the road didn't get it correct, and everybody dies. Problem.
Well, that's
Well,
if it's a
here's-
fully
so here's
automated
the-
truck.
here's
But I'm
the-
talking about a guy, like a drone pilot. Like I'm gonna have
Oh yeah, drone pilots. Yeah.
I'm gonna have Bubba
Well, let's-
sitting behind his computer, behind his racing steering wheel, with his 16 gear, little thing, virtually drive. He's gonna be driving the truck via wire, just like the drone pilots.
So let's stop and think about this for a second. There's actually some efficiencies that could be built in there because the whole 8-hour shift that drivers have to take a mandatory stop.
Pass it off to another driver.
You could easily just flip a switch and the controls switch over to the next guy. So
Yeah.
instead of Daryl, it's the other brother Daryl driving,
That's right.
and they take shifts that way.
See, because team driving isn't cost efficient when they're both in the truck because you're paying two people even though only one's doing the work. But team driving on computer, hey, now we're making sense.
Yeah. Well, talking long haul. I mean, we're talking the actual short haul trucking. That's
And nobody wants to be away from their family for a long time. So if I can log on, do my 8 hours of driving, and then pull the truck over in a roadside charging station for the night, and then to pick up the next morning, hey, all right, cool. I can still tuck the kids in bed, or I can let Julio pick up and do the night shift.
so
You can run
I
three
have
shifts of truckers. You could get. I'll tell you what. We could restock the shelves at this rate. Somebody put us in charge. Damn it.
Yeah.
Who's in charge of Freightliner? We got some
I have a
ideas.
trucking- I have a trucking thing for you
All right.
because this came up. I learned this last week. So they're looking at trying to make things easier for the big loads need permits. They'll have windmills and stuff coming through.
Yep.
So here's the thing: there is a organization trying to make it more difficult. I didn't know that such a thing existed. It's the Coalition Against Large Trucks.
But large trucks save lives. Oh, that's loud pipes.
The idea that there is an organization out there that doesn't like large trucks is just hilarious to me.
I would love to see one of their rallies. As the guy who just went from the Explorer to the Expedition, I love large trucks. I will go bigger. I would love to have the diesel with the air brake converted for day-to-day driving, just to piss people off.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Let's see here. They're blaming the Memphis bridge disaster on a large truck. Bigger
Memphis
trucks
bridge
mean more
disaster.
pollution.
No,
They're saying
not necessarily.
they're a big.
The
cause of
irony here is that
infrastructure damage.
they need these big trucks to bring the parts for the wind farms that will help solve the pollution problem. So there is a huge ironic twist happening here.
Oh, it is full of irony, yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
New York bridges
It-
would
it's like-
suffer under bigger trucks.
It's like the moms against drunk driving going up and saying that they need to stop making non-alcoholic beer. If they were to do such a thing. As far as I know.
Yeah. Well, you got to do it to protect the children. That's the problem. If children can get a hold of non-alcoholic beer and develop a taste for beer, then that's just a gateway to turn them into alcoholics. So ban it.
And
That's the mentality there.
And that's just one step away from heroin. We all know that.
Correct.
The recipe for heroin is 1 part non-alcoholic beer and 1 part AC/DC. That's all it takes.
Okay, then.
But no, there is. We mentioned there is a trucking problem going on, and actually, one organization says the problem is pot. The problem
really?
is marijuana, and the legalization of
This is a
marijuana
lie.
across various states. because it's
Well,
still being
okay,
tested
so-
against. It's still being tested against in a lot of companies, and they're saying, well, if we didn't fail truck drivers for smoking pot, then we'd have more truck drivers on the roads.
There's that. Wow, I really can't believe these words are going to come out of my mouth, but that logic is very Trump-esque. If you stop testing for it, it won't exist.
Yep.
And I don't like going there, but wow, that's just that's like saying
A spokesman at the industry.
nobody gets AIDS anymore because we don't test for it. Which
Okay, I think after twisting my brain around, I think I understand what they're saying. They're not saying that we shouldn't check them to make sure they're not actually stoned when they're driving. It's that we're testing them to see if they've ever had marijuana and in enough time where it's still detectable as saying that they took it. In which case it'd be
that's fair.
Yeah. Then it makes sense.
So they're saying to date,
It's
37.
a breathalyzer to see if you've had a drink. It doesn't mean that you don't ever drink, but making sure it doesn't affect your ability to drive. I get it. And if you were doing remote truckers,
You wouldn't. Well, you'd still have this problem because you'd be more prone to smoke at home.
yeah, but it's
But if you
easy.
do
But then
remote-
you'd have more people able to drive because
Yeah, you could get the squares
if
to
you have-
drive.
Also, if you had a remote, because the computer is going to be watching you drive, so the computer can detect that you are either
Weaving.
stoned or inebriated.
Yeah, you could
and
hook up a microphone and see if they
automatically
laugh
pick you
too
up.
much. Every
Well,
10 minutes,
this was-
ask them a stupid joke and see if they giggle uncontrollably, and that is your test. You don't need a breathalyzer.
But see, this was a big thing when it came up to vote last year, or 2 years ago. I don't even remember how long ago it's been. It might have been 2 years. When it came up on a ballot to legalize recreational marijuana in New Jersey. And the state, overwhelming majority, agreed to it. Mm-hmm. But then there was a little bit of irony where the individual towns, majority of them, passed resolutions that would not allow a dispensary or a marijuana business to open up in town.
Yep.
And the reason being, the laws around legalization and the enforcement and where the tax revenue would go, all of that stuff needed to be figured out.
Yeah, that stuff's hard.
So this kind of ties into it. And the other part was if a town agreed to it, they couldn't change. They couldn't reverse and say no more business, no businesses for 6 years. Whereas if you said no, we're not going to allow it, you could turn around a month from now and say, okay, we're good, go ahead. Mm-hmm. But so this kind of ties to the whole the issue that they're having with the truckers. They legalize it in so many places, but there's no structure around the testing and even a legal limit. It's not like alcohol where you have a legal BAC.
Well, actually, there is a legal limit for THC. It was actually implemented that way in a number of states because 18 states have cleared. That's why they've basically changed to driving while impaired, DWIs. But what makes this more interesting reading this article is, see, it used to be before 2020, truckers are randomly tested every quarter, okay, for substances. And so what would happen is you would get tested, let's say you'd get busted for pot during a quarter. Well, the company you work for would be alerted. So you get canned from that company. Well, before 2020, you could just, wait it out a little bit till it's out of your system, then go apply at a different company, pass the test there, and then pick up and drive. But in 2020, the trucking industry implemented a new law for their organization that required that all truck drivers who had failed a drug test be listed in a federal database so that all trucking companies would know about any violations, therefore making it impossible for them to get a job with any other trucking company. So it blacklists you from every company if you get a failed drug test. The laws impacted over 110,000 truckers, of which about 56% were reported for marijuana use. And that's just from December 2021 data. So,
What was the percent then?
So 56% of 110,000.
So we're talking. We're having a shortage of truck drivers, and we have approximately 60,000 of them that just took marijuana.
And it says the shortage is about 80,000 truckers that we need. So we're
I'm guessing.
We're so close. Yeah. We're 3/4 of the way. If we just say, hey, listen, don't get stoned and drive.
Or
just like don't drink and drive.
Somebody invent a strain of pot that can't be detected. All right? Like that guy from, what was it, Road Trip?
Yeah. Now, don't get us wrong. We're not advocating for marijuana use. None of us are potheads by any stretch of the imagination. But who knows? Maybe sometime. I tell you what, I did have a 3-day migraine where I really, where nothing was working, even my super pills, and I thought, there is a dispensary down the road. Maybe some edibles might work. I don't know, but I've heard things. So I really was considering it if nothing worked. It was either that or go to the ER, which is overbooked. But luckily it went away finally. So it was just like, I don't know. It's one of those things where I think it's especially since we've got 18 states that now have legalized it recreationally. I think it's going to be a matter of time before that becomes one of those things. Because there's that same problem is in a lot of places. Teaching, construction, you name it. There's a lot of industries that are being affected by that same type of testing methodology. Trucking just happens to be the one that we're noticing right now because of all the shortages and everything.
Yep.
It has been 16 months since voters in New Jersey overwhelmingly said, yes, legalize it. You still can't buy it in New Jersey. We're not any closer to it.
I think it took 18 months for us, something like that. But we did have medical first, and anyone who had a medical license was able to then transition into recreational fairly easily. I think that process took maybe 6-9 months, something like that.
So we have legal medical marijuana dispensaries here, and New Jersey is a lot better than states like Hawaii and Maine, where when you get a card, that means you can grow your own. You have a limit on the number of plants. You don't just go and buy it like you do in California or what have you. It means you're allowed to grow it, which is good and bad.
Yeah.
Because if you've got a green thumb, that means you could wind up with more than you're ever going to need in a year.
Yeah.
All right, listen, we got. I haven't hated myself yet this show. I gotta point this out.
Okay.
And I had mentioned this, that I kept seeing these things pop up.
Oh, Pocky chips.
Now this is not the one chip challenge.
No.
But this is the hottest off the shelf bag that you can get. This is the haunted ghost pepper.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't hated myself, but I did promise that if I ever found them, I would eat one on the show. And
Yep.
I think because I got us involved with the Llamageddon bullshit,
Definitely deserve it.
it's sufficient punishment that I eat one of these.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, do you want to do the fashion thing first?
Oh, no.
Or
I think it's best to do the fashion thing with your mouth on fire.
okay.
So yeah, no. You know us. We're all fashion icons. All right. If you have watched the show for any period of time, you'll go, oh, those sexy beasts, I have no idea. They must have an unlimited wardrobe budget. White T-shirts, colored T-shirts, these guys, they know their stuff. So, it was no surprise to us when the London Fashion Show happened, and there was some interesting styles that took place there. Go ahead, Mike. It looks like a regular Dorito.
The bag was sealed.
Yeah.
So
it. It doesn't seem too bad.
I was okay until I opened my mouth. Oh God. The air got to it. The air got to it.
Oh, and now alcohol. I hear that helps a lot. That really takes care of that capsaicin. That's what they say. Definitely drink beer.
I'm okay. Go on.
All right. So male body diversity was highlighted at Central St. Martin's fashion show this last week. And I wanted to play a game of, could we find any outfits there that we would wear? Because as normal with this type of thing, I'm going to bet the answer is probably a resounding no.
Teresa's telling me to wipe my hands and drink milk. I don't have any milk. There's almond milk upstairs, but I ain't drinking that. No, it's actually, I'm okay right now. Okay.
So I will go ahead and I will throw in some of these. Let me see if I can do this so that we can still keep an eye on Mike here. Let's see here. I am going to overlay.
That's okay. I'll let you know if something develops here.
Oh no, that's okay. All right. So this great outfit here. All right. Now this, obviously, Mike, this is something you might get for the missus, right?
Okay. So it kind of looks like an egghead, like Humpty Dumpty meets. You remember? Yeah, did y'all see that movie Big Trouble in Little China?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Where the one guy like blew himself up and his hands got. It kind of reminds me of that. Yeah. Or actually, what was it? Kirk in Star Trek when they were sneaking him onto the Enterprise.
Yes,
and
he had that flu.
Injected him with stuff. So, yeah, so it's like, okay, I wouldn't wear it.
Well, and Valentine's Day's around the corner. How about a 5 of Hearts dress for Mrs. 8-Man? Is that in the cards, maybe?
I don't think she would appreciate it, but that's normal looking. I can see,
All right. Well, how
somebody
about
wearing that?
Something that accentuates her assets a little bit more? Maybe some faux wood.
What the hell is that?
It's tech. I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
I don't know.
But there's a sapling. There's a sapling crying somewhere.
Is that her hand holding up the log and somebody else pushing, or is somebody else holding up the log?
Yes, she is actually on a cart. Because you wouldn't expect her to be able to walk in that.
Yeah. No. Before you zoomed in, I thought maybe somebody had an unhealthy Lego obsession. But
I don't know if I know masks were fashionable in 2021 and in the beginning of 2022, and maybe we're not over them quite yet. But I don't know that a mask like this is particularly in fashion.
No. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. Is it supposed to be a dog?
I don't know, but how about I don't know if that's supposed to be a bottle, or I don't know if she's wearing a cowbell, a velvet cowbell.
The one behind her. Okay, the one behind her is in because like
next.
We can't talk about wedding cake without talking about hippie Gumby over here. I mean, this is
I believe she is dressed like a purple jetliner. If you see the wings and the arm.
Oh, yeah, and the tail. Okay, yeah, because that's a thing,
I was thinking
of course.
Grimace, but that works too.
Yeah, and then we have a Harry Potter fashion reject, I think. I don't know, but I think collars are supposed to go on the back, not on the front.
Well, I was going to say, that's Harry Potter meets crisscross,
Meets Frozen, I think, maybe.
With the front to the back, because inside out is wiggity, 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 whack.
Now, this I would have expected from like an outlet store, because to me, this one arm being lower than the other, that's what you get in like the outlet stores, where it's like not quite correct, an irregular, I think is what they call it.
Hang on, that's not one. I see shoulder, so that's not one arm lower. That's like I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that. I think they took the dry cleaning bag and just put a couple holes in it, because that's the closest thing I can tell.
Wearing the shirt from the front and isn't actually. I would love to see the back of that one.
Yes, Mama Blair. These fashions do look like failed Halloween costumes.
That woman.
That looks like you're just wearing the bag you came in.
Yeah, pretty much.
Including the hanger.
Yeah. And this is someone out of like a desert, film. This is the closest so far to regular clothes that I can see.
Okay.
And this is close.
All right. So now we're getting into dudes.
Now we're getting into male fashion. So this one, for some reason, we can't have just another shoulder strap. We have to have some weird, like plastic hook
that connected to his earring.
I don't know. I wish we had another turn. It's step, turn. You should know how to walk a fashion show. And then
Teresa just wrote in. It looks like they got dressed in a dark Goodwill bin. I used to tell when somebody was wearing something that was hideous, we were like, "Yeah, I see you got dressed in the dark today." This guy forgot to take the hanger out of his coat. That's what happened.
This is
the hanger, or the coat rack is behind him.
Powder got pissed, is what this is.
He said powder. No, he didn't.
Here's Nemo's cousin, or Neo's cousin.
The previous one looked like Bill Hader. This one looks like Professor Brian Cox. This one looks like the girl in The Exorcist.
Yeah, I don't dig jackets with no shirts. No, no, and that's almost a blouse. That's not even like a coat. Again, I don't understand.
That looks like a reject from extra from Assassin's Creed.
Yes, that it's like a businessman pant and an Assassin's Creed shirt. I don't get that one. And this, why do they all have the same look? Same pants. They all have the same pants.
No. What can you? What's up with the shoe?
Oh,
am I the only one seeing that?
I didn't notice the quote shoe, because it looks like a quote.
It's an elf.
Looks like a hoof.
Yeah, that's gotta hurt his toes.
Oh no!
More ladies.
Yeah.
Oh God.
That is just a napkin. That is. They didn't finish making that. There's still pins in it.
She looks pissed off. Like, where's the rest of my outfit?
Yes, she's like, it's cold. She's dragging the rest. This lady.
The next one.
They just wrapped her in a sheet.
I was going to say, I misunderstood the assignment, so what we're going to do right now is I'm going to have my kids wrap you in toilet paper of different colors, and we're going to send you out that way. Yes. Pretend to care. You, dear. Okay, listen, I have purple garbage bags. We're going to just wrap you and make you flowy, and very good, very good.
Yes, big hair. And we're going to make you a less attractive version than the last model. That's all we're going to do. Holy crap, we can't show that.
I haven't seen a single one yet that I would even consider wearing. Now, there was one in
Now
the preview that you sent over.
This is you right here. This is
That is not me. No. No, there was one that you sent over in the preview that almost resembled Joey Tribbiani wearing all of the clothes. And I said, I could pull that off.
Oh, here you go. It's Gene on Gene on Gene.
That's a Canadian tuxedo right there.
This is Denim Man.
No.
That's what this is.
No, wait. But go back to the previous one.
Hold on. He belongs in one of our space movies.
Yeah. But go back to back, because I just realized something.
This woman? Or this one?
No.
Or do you want this guy?
That one.
Or gal?
Yeah, because that one I was looking at going, that must be Mr. Shathade's wife.
I don't. Is he married to a supermodel? I mean, we never do talk about his family, so it could be, but I don't think so.
Oh,
It's Mr. Shathade's wife.
So many puns.
So
many puns about little shits.
And but that's antenna head.
It's Romeo. It's literally Romeo.
That's Goth Newsy right there, man.
Okay.
Goth Newsy.
No, that's Goth Newsy. There, that's the Goth.
Okay, hold on. We got to get to the. Jeez, how many do they have?
That's little Jack Horner. Yeah, before he goes and.
Oh my! That is a coat made out of a tent, or out
little
of
girl in a giant coat. Little girl in a giant coat.
Get that big enough, I'd wear that. There you go.
I'm trying to find the one that was in the preview. Oh, that's not attractive. No, that's not good.
There's 80. How many? Seriously, there's 181 of these.
Jesus. We ain't
got time for all.
No, we ain't got time for all this. But I was trying to find the one that you were referencing that you said you liked, in here, and yeah, I'm sure it was this guy, right? That guy? Is that the one that you were going after?
If you really want to see me wearing something like that.
So, yeah.
Well, Teresa said that jacket looked like it was one of the tents from the set of MASH.
Yeah, so there's a lot. And, it's just, I don't get fashion sometimes. I really don't.
Okay, so I got to give you a little update here.
Yeah.
My tongue is easily at least 20 degrees warmer than the rest of my body. And my nose is running.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying very hard not to sniffle in the microphone. But generally speaking, I did go back and have a second chip to make sure like the first one wasn't a dud, because the first one really didn't hit me that bad once the initial shock was done. I can't stop salivating.
Maybe you need a whole handful.
I don't.
At Doritos, do you eat one chip at a time?
Look at me. If I could eat one chip and put the bag away, do you think I would have a body like this?
I know. I can't either. That's why.
All right, let me see if I can find. I'll do one more.
This is a body by Frito-Lay. That's what this is, not body by Jake.
I didn't open the bag all the way because I don't want all the stuff to escape here, but all right, well, that's the one I touched, so there we go. This is number 3.
So,
is it tasty at least?
No.
It's just hot.
Here's the thing about ghost peppers. There's nothing enjoyable about them.
Yeah.
The one restaurant bar by us used to have a burger that had ghost pepper cheese, ghost pepper mayo, and it was dusted with it was a blackened Cajun burger. I ate it one time, just to say that I ate it. Mm-hmm. There was nothing enjoyable about that meal. I was sitting there sweating by the end of the meal. I've never broken a sweat eating before. But it happened.
Now,
I agree. Habaneros are tasty peppers. They're very hot, but at least they're tasty.
Yeah. Habaneros you can have heat and have flavor. I've watched enough hot ones to know. If anybody ever puts a bottle of the bomb in front of me, I'm going to tell them where they can stick it, because I've seen enough reactions to know there's nothing pleasant about that. What's Teresa saying? I count my Tostitos and walk away from the bag. See, I try to do that.
That's a level of self-control I don't have.
No,
I'll admit it.
Yeah,
I love the fact that, like, on this bag. Now, the fact that they actually say on this one, serving size is one bag. Okay, first of all, ain't nobody eating the whole bag of this without dying.
No.
Although I may keep these on hand, like the next time it snows, like eat these before I go out. Internal combustion going on right now. But I'm saying to myself, like Wawa pretzels or wait a minute. Do I have an example of this somewhere? No, I don't. Like, you look at a bottle of soda or a bottle of Gatorade, and it actually tells you there's 2.5 servings in that bottle. That's the dumbest thing ever. A regular bottle like that, right, that you would buy, a 16-ounce bottle. Tell me how much is in the bottle. That's one serving. Don't try and be cute about it. That's just stupid.
So, real quick before we get to another article, just a follow-up on what we talked about last show. So there is a new biopic that's going to be coming out. It's actually Roku's first documentary. The Roku channel themselves is putting it out, and it is I guess it's a mockumentary. I'm not really sure how to put this, but it's on Weird Al. And Weird Al is being played by Daniel Radcliffe. And there have been some set photos which have been gathered by the paparazzis that look encouraging, actually, because some of us asked, how is Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter, going to become, Weird Al? How is that going to work? Well, the answer is actually pretty well if you look at these photos. So here is one that was snapped of him, and I have to say that was actually a pretty good look. It's one of his iconic looks. And then here's another one of him in the car. So he's getting the look down, I think. I'm very happy with the way that is coming through.
Yeah,
so
the second picture looks better than the first one.
Yeah.
The first one, the shirt is just kind of blending in a bit. That's making him look more like Ron Jeremy. But,
potentially, yeah. But, well, and he doesn't have the glasses on. That's the other thing. That was,
Yeah.
So, but
because one thing about Weird Al is Weird Al has always been very skinny. So, I already saw that first picture. The second picture, that was better looking. Yeah.
Yeah. But I do want to get to another article that has been actually the whole topic has been coming up a lot in the tech circles, and it's actually the tech, the agriculture, a lot of different circles, but it's the right to repair stuff. And Mike, you actually brought up this article that there is a Subaru and Kia dealerships in Massachusetts are doing some shady stuff, or what we would consider possibly shady. That's causing problems with right to repair issues with customers.
Yeah, I'm trying to actually find the article here to remind. Okay, yeah. So there's state laws that apparently in Massachusetts, the whole right to repair thing, what happens is they don't tell you this, but the remote, the telematics, like your remote start through your phone and an app telling you, hey, you need an oil change. Apparently, those are turned off in Massachusetts because of state laws. And this is a voter-approved law, which really leads me down the path of when you put these things on the ballot, the wording needs to be very, very clear about it. Don't use verbal gymnastics to try and sway the vote to make people think they're doing the right thing when they're not. Or, now we've seen this in tech before. We've seen this with Apple, where we've seen it even with just other cell phone providers or manufacturers. You used to be able to take the back off of your phone and replace the battery yourself. You can't do that, and I don't know of any phones that you can do that with now. Laptops,
it's
same
definitely
thing.
I mean, you can still take them apart and replace it in a lot of them, but it is not nearly as easy as it once was. No. And there have been some changes that some manufacturers have made, and there have been some niche manufacturers that have come out who actually tout the ability of, hey, you can upgrade components, or this is user serviceable, or things like that. One that comes to mind is like Framework laptops that made a big splash in the tech market not that long ago, because of their extreme functionality and usability and repairability. But
think about it. Like, you buy a MacBook and you want to add RAM. You got to go to the Genius Bar.
Well, sometimes you got to buy a new Mac because it's soldered onto the motherboard, so you can't you physically can't do it. In fact, I just watched an article today, and this is going to kill you. Okay, so let's say you buy a brand new Lenovo desktop, Mike. Okay, now you buy a fairly nice one with one of the new 12th gen or one of the new AMD Ryzen processors. All right, but a couple years down the road, maybe you want to upgrade. You want to move to a more capable motherboard, a nicer video card, but you go, hey, I got this really nice processor that's on this Lenovo. I just want to move it. Why should I buy another processor? I can just move it from one to the other, right? Processor's a processor. Not anymore. Lenovo is brand locking the processors so that they only work with Lenovo branded motherboards. They just started this, and the worst thing is there's no advertising of this lock. There is nothing in their literature, nothing on their website, no option that you can say to not do this because it is an optional security feature. All right, but there's nothing indicating that you don't want this performed.
So here's my first question. Is it a permanent lock?
Yes.
That's the problem. I can understand. So think in terms of like cell phone providers with you're locked to a provider. Until
a SIM card that you can call in after you pay it off. You can call in and get it unlocked. Yeah, that's not the case here.
That's different.
This is a one-time lock. Once it's locked, and it's e-waste from then on.
So at that point, if you're talking about lower-end processors, like this is going to be like your mom and pop computer that they use to surf the web and email and maybe Zoom calls, FaceTime, whatever. That's different. They're not going to care because when it stops working, they're going to get a new one. By the time they decide to replace it, it's going to need to be replaced anyway. But I could see how there's a large section that are like the folks that are really in the know are going to avoid it. They're going to be like, nope, not doing it. But there's a large section in between those two extremes where people are not going to realize. And I can see that retailers like Best Buy are going to get stuck in the middle here because they're not going to tell the customers when they buy them.
Well,
hey, by the way, when you want to go upgrade, you can't do it unless you buy the parts from Lenovo. This was a problem with Dell for a long time. That Dell was using proprietary parts that if something broke, you could only buy it from Dell.
I mean, certain parts are still proprietary, and certain things we still understand. Like, let's say you get a laptop or a desktop in, and the hard drive's encrypted. Okay, I understand that for security concerns, all right? But you can still low-level format that thing and reuse it, Okay?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, but this is a one-time, one and done. And for right now, it's at least a vendor lock, so you can use it on another Lenovo product, but it's actually implemented so that it could be a model-specific lock.
Now, see, and this is where I get concerned, because this opens the door up to issues with, like Windows licenses, where, now it's actually, I kind of like it now when you have everything linked to a Windows account. So if you reinstall, you don't have to go finding the damn key code and calling up to say, yeah, this machine died, I'm upgrading, and they don't do the whole check thing like they used to. Or if they do, I just don't. I never haven't run into it like that. But to be locked to a vendor like that, I mean, that could start locking the software licenses to a specific machine. Yeah. And when that machine dies, well, you're done.
Well,
that's the road that I don't really like.
An OEM Windows license pretty much does that anyway, but.
Yeah, but that's something that you can buy. That's another one that it's easy enough to replace. It's a and right now, hell, Windows is basically free, or you could put a different operating system on there if you wanted to, but it's
Well, okay, so you're talking about how they make it harder and harder, right? So this here is my old iPod Touch. For whatever, it's old enough that the battery stopped holding a charge. I left it on a charger overnight, and it wouldn't even boot up.
Right.
I looked into how to replace the battery because I replaced the battery in this one. It's not charged, otherwise I turn it on. My old iPod Classic here, I replaced the battery in here. To replace the battery here, not only do you have to warm it up to get rid of or to loosen up the adhesive, but you have to desolder several things to get to the battery.
Yeah. It's probably one of those front to back models.
So what I wound up, it wound up just being cheaper to buy a new iPod Touch.
Right, and that's just, and the sad part is we're just contributing to the e-waste problem. So the processor we're talking about here, specifically the one that's been mentioned in a lot of documentation, is the AMD Ryzen 5 Pro 4650G. So that is a 6-core, 12-thread, 3.7 base clock with a boost of up to 4.2 gigahertz. That is not a grandma and grandpa's just checking email processor.
Okay, so here's the other question though: is this like a? All right, so TCL put out a 435, 433, 434, 436 TV, all basically the same TV, but one was sold at BJ's, one was sold at Walmart, one was sold at Costco. So is this processor specific to...
No. Nope.
But
so this particular processor, this model, this clock speed and everything, you could go and buy it somewhere else and not have this software lock. If you buy it from Lenovo, it's locked.
Technically, it's a feature of the platform. So technically, you can go buy the CPU, install it in the motherboard, and then it will lock the CPU.
Oh,
yeah. This is a feature that actually has been around for a little while, but Lenovo has started to implement it by default, which turns this one-time lock on without telling anyone.
There's very good reasons for this to exist. I can go through that real quick. The problem here is that they need to give a way for a consumer to say, turn off the security feature. Right? The whole point of this existing is to take care of the Lenovo creates the desktop in their factory. They know it's all secure, and then they ship it. Now, somewhere in between them shipping it out and it arriving somewhere, some nefarious, KGB, CIA, whoever it is that the customer is worrying about gets a hold of it and goes and replaces the motherboard with something that has a callback to them feature to send off all their secret stuff. That's what they're trying to protect from. So this motherboard, this CPU, they've already been connected to each other. That's encrypted. It's much more difficult to replace it between sending it out of the factory and arriving at its destination. That's the idea. But the way it's been implemented is a very anti-consumer way. I mean, you should just be able to go under the motherboard and say, turn off the, whatever the heck the thing is called. You should be able to go to the motherboard and just turn off the PSB. And then say, okay, PSB is turned off, so just work.
Yeah, but you can't. So yeah, so that is so that came out, within the last couple days actually of that practice going on. But it's just it's the atypical anti-consumerism, thing that is happening to a lot of industries. Tech industry being definitely one of them. And not all of us want to replace our stuff all the time. I mean, I just came across somebody who lost their BitLocker key. And lost their BitLocker recovery key, even though what was written on the printout of the recovery key was "place in a secure location." Because of course thumb drives go bad, network drives go bad, but hard copies are hard copies. And when you say "place in a secure location," make multiple copies. Those should be stuck around.
Isn't there a way to get BitLocker keys without having them written down? I seem to remember running into that problem when I upgraded my.
Yeah.
Only
you
if
have to have a Microsoft account.
Well, and you have to have, you have to have it registered to a Microsoft account, and usually you have to have been able to log into the machine originally. Then you can get the recovery key back. But regardless, so I ended up rebuilding that machine for them, which is no big deal because luckily they save their information where they're supposed to on the network, like everybody else. So BitLocker only encrypts the local machine, which is good. But if it had been something like this, there's a potential for something like this. And I'm going way out here on a limb and saying, say the motherboard went bad and I had to put a new motherboard in or something like that. Now it's basically just e-waste. It's just a wasted computer, unless I get the exact same brand, exact same model, which isn't always fiscally responsible thing to do.
But that was also back in the days of like Windows 95. Like I remember when Kim's motherboard died. It might not have been 95. It might have been XP. It was XP. I'm sorry, XP. Her motherboard died, and I had to go track down the same motherboard in order to replace it or something with the same chipset. Otherwise, I had to get a new license.
Right, and but reactivating a license or buying a new license isn't quite the same as throwing away the entire machine. Yeah. So yeah, but no, I totally get it, and for the most part, we've kind of moved past those things now. We've evolved a little bit and know, hey, hardware is going to change over time. That is a thing that happens. People just keep their install and move it kind of from one machine to another machine. We don't always do it from scratch. So yeah.
Was that Windows that you were trying to get it to work, Mike? Or was that something else?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
When you were looking there for that motherboard for Kim, was it because of Windows?
Yes.
Okay. I'll just say for Windows, it's a simple phone call to Microsoft, and they fix the key.
Oh, I called them. No, I called them, and they told me that I had to buy a new key because my key was showed as in use already, and I'm like, yeah, it's in use, and I had to replace the motherboard. Oh, well, because you replaced the motherboard, and now, they gave me a runaround at that point, and I was like, okay, well, screw you, and that's when I went to an alternative source and obtained a copy of.
Yeah. I'd say that's not how it's supposed to work. That was silly.
Well,
anyway.
And the whole Microsoft account now is actually, I do like it a lot better. That once you register in a machine, like if I go to upgrade, it's if I upgrade my motherboard, it's not not nearly the hassle it was.
Yeah.
Speaking
They fixed it.
Speaking of breaking upgrades, story came out about 5 days or so ago. Firefox and Chrome version 100 may break some websites. Seems like maybe we didn't learn from Y2K. Evidently, the 3-digit version number is potentially going to cause some issues with some potential code. I don't know why we have to keep repeating the same problem over and over again. But
there's a reason when I write dates, I always put the 20 at the beginning, because even though it's been 22 years since that, it's I just, when I saw that, I was like, really? There are, I guess there are some truly stupid programmers out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll put it this way: any programmer in, as I said, 2022, that is worrying about trying to make a number smaller in a computer doesn't understand what 32-bit means.
Yeah. I mean, it just doesn't. It shouldn't make any difference to you. You know, if a number is 2 characters or 3 characters, you know.
It's a 32-bit computer, or it's a 64. It's a 64-bit computer.
Yeah.
So at the microprocessor level, it only knows how to deal with a number that is 64 digits long. Not, I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, I don't.
Why are you playing around with 2 digits for a version number, you moron?
Yeah. And then, since we got a little bit of time before our movie feature, double feature movie review, which is coming up here in about 10-15 minutes, so make sure that you stay tuned for that, especially if you're a Llama-geddon producer, director, writer, actor. We want to get your, we will want to make sure that you tune in for that. But Mike, one of our favorite groups, the Vegans. All right.
What did they do now?
Well, it's what they didn't do. They didn't pay attention to the science, Mike. The science. We have long held that veganism cannot be good for your health. You know, that you need some meat in there. All right? Meat is a good thing. And so CNN Health put out an article. Starts off, eating a plant-based diet has been shown to be very good for your heart and your overall health, as well as that of the planet. In fact, a recent study found a young person could live an additional 13 years by eating more vegetables and legumes, as well as whole grains, fruit, and nuts. Now, everyone needs to remember those 13 years are at the end of your life when you're living in a diaper. All right? So whether you want to enjoy those or not, that's up to you. But there's a problem with this. Study found that eating more vegetables wasn't associated with a lower risk of heart and circulatory disease once other lifestyle and other factors were taken into account. So, what they basically found was that the only way that you could get the true benefits out of vegetables, an all-vegetable diet, is if you ate them raw. No cooking.
Nope.
So unless you live like a rabbit, you're not doing yourself as good of a service. So, yeah.
No. Oh, that one was bad.
That was bad. Mike continues to eat his Pocky chips.
So, Shaggy,
that one was flat. So that one had more stuff on it.
Can you put that map up that I posted earlier in the middle of Mike trying to post something?
Yes.
Because this was very hilarious to me. So there's been lots of people like posting maps of different things, trying to get people to understand like how big Ukraine is, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So this one came up on Twitter from a channel called Terrible Maps, so people should really understand that. It says America is huge compared to other continents. And then the replies on Twitter to this were hilarious. People going, complaining about Americans and stuff. Oh, put that back up there.
Okay. Go ahead.
Have you seen the size of America? And I was looking at going, did you not notice that the entire North American continent has been stuck inside the United States? I mean, not just saying Africa is smaller than the United States. They said the United States is smaller than the United States. So I just found it hilarious reading the comments on Twitter of stupid people.
I saw this and I thought the same thing. So I'm like, wait a second, that's North America in there.
I was trying to figure out what exactly you were posting. Like, was this like a regional thing, or like were you trying to compare? Like, are you trying to say that New Jersey is indicative of like Greenland, or?
Well, really, this is a winter storm map.
You guys are indicative of South America, or I don't know. Like, well, I wasn't sure when the picture came up because there was no caption or anything with it, so I was trying to figure out what you were trying to say.
Obviously, this says that a heavy winter storm is rolling into the New Mexico area, right there, and we're going to be seeing just some light snow up around the northwest of the state of Illinois, and heavy fog rolling in here. That's what that means.
Anyway, so if you like watching stupid people be outraged, look at the Terrible Maps Twitter. Here, I'm going to stick another one up because I like this one too.
You could have just said, look at Twitter, because depending on who you're following on Twitter.
Yes. I know, but these are specific.
I got some people. Hey.
Here.
I got it.
15? Oh, God.
I got it. I'm just...
There you go. Yeah. Electricity consumption in Europe in 1507.
That's
completely.
That's about what I would expect.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
Alrighty. So last story here before we get into the double feature movie review. Do we want Family Dollar or do we want weddings? Which one, Mike?
Weddings.
Okay. Mike, my wedding was pretty easy because it was just at the Justice of the Peace. How about yours?
Now, our wedding, we had about 100 people, and it was, it was still relatively easy compared to a lot of the weddings that I have seen, and horror stories that I have heard about.
Do you think it would have been easier if you weren't there?
I don't think... I had to look and make sure she wasn't standing behind me here, because there's no right answer to this. I don't want there to be any misinterpretation about my answer. Would it have been easier if my wife and I weren't there? If you're implying doing a wedding by Zoom, I don't think that would have been easier, knowing my family.
Well, what about if you had the big trappings of a wedding, but you both delegated the task to somebody else?
What do you mean, like send a replicant?
Send a representative.
No.
See, because I just learned today that in Montana, a double proxy marriage is allowed. So,
oh, yeah.
So you don't actually have to show up to your own wedding. Either one of the people getting married, neither the bride or the groom, have to actually be there. You can just send a representative on your behalf.
Now, oh God, this could make for some interesting film.
Yes. Hey, let's watch the video of our wedding. Who's that? Well,
Oh,
we
no,
hired
more
actors.
More like come on, honey, let's go apply for our wedding license. Wait, what do you mean? I'm married.
No. See, and that does get into it because the representatives even signed the marriage certificate on your behalf.
But I assume they have to have, which could easily be forged, some kind of letter of authorization that grants them the ability or the right to be a proxy.
We can marry you whether you are stationed at home, abroad, or deployed. Montana will marry same-sex couples through proxy marriage. When a couple is unable to be present for their own wedding, yet need the fact of their marriage documented, proxies may stand in on their behalf to sign the marriage license. Double proxy marriage is not intended to take away from your special day, but to add convenience and efficiency to the legal process of marriage. Oh, that just warms my heart hearing that sentiment. Everybody, every girl wants to hear that on their wedding day. We're here to add convenience and efficiency to this legal process.
Now, what you said there was the important things. What this is mostly used for is by the military.
Well, it is, but it doesn't have to be.
No, at least one of them has to be a resident of Montana, or one of them has to just be in the military.
Right. But they don't have to be both. One of them has to be a resident of Montana, and then the other one, I mean, ideally, they could both be residents of Montana and just not want to get up in front of people.
You can also have neither of them be a resident of Montana.
Right.
At least one of them has to be either a resident of Montana or active duty military.
Right. But and we're both saying the same thing here, though, is that, okay, if you want to, as long as somebody fits into one of those two categories, neither of them has to be there.
So, if you get two people that live in Montana that absolutely can't stand being around people,
but they still want the benefits of being married,
and they want to be married, maybe they were inadvertently stuck in quarantine together and decided we love this life and this is how we will live and we don't want to ever deal with anybody ever again. So they hire Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman to be their proxies. And this is how the film opens.
Yes, this could be the next big Netflix blockbuster. I think we just created the film.
See that, but this also, also could be this very well could be how 90 Day Fiancé evolves.
Could be.
Montana meta marriage. There you go. And the proxies are standing in place via meta VR for the resident and the immigrant.
There you go.
DLC, if you are listening, I better at least get an executive producer credit here.
So in 2019, they were doing 1,200 of them a year. In 2020, they did 4,200 of them, and in 2021, they did 4,300 of them. So double proxies became widely used during the pandemic.
It makes up 80% of all weddings in Flathead County.
And how many of them last? That's the other question.
But that's an interesting stat that came out lately. It looks like the divorce rate has been going down.
Well, it has. Now, I don't know what that murder rate has been doing, but the divorce rate has been going down.
No, the divorce rate's going down because people are realizing it's cheaper to keep her.
Yeah.
All right.
But the murder rate, the U.S. murder rate went up 30% during the pandemic. I'm just letting you know that small fact.
No correlation there. Okay, let's look. It is
All right.
8:33. Let's get into this.
Yes.
Let's rip this Band-Aid off because I'm.
Yep. So
Do we start with the good one or do we start with Lamageddon?
well, I think that first we need to do this. We need to say, those folks from
Lamageddon did
Lamageddon,
retweet us.
thank you for retweeting from Mike and PTR Radio. So, yes, the two movies which we are going to review tonight, Lamageddon and Herbie Finds Happiness, or The Hunt for Happiness, or something with happiness.
Hector and the Search for Happiness.
Yes, Hector and the Search for Happiness. Yes, that one. I knew happiness was in there. It was. I think Lamageddon's got to go second. We got to hold the suspense till the end. That's just the way that it works.
Okay.
All right.
So we'll talk about the British crap.
So, Colin. So you're going to go up first. So, Colin, tell us what you think of Hector and the Search for Happiness.
Okay, so I very much enjoy Simon Pegg movies, and this is one I had never heard of. And so this is a Simon Pegg movie. He plays a psychiatrist who he's in a rut. And he and his girlfriend are just in this rut of every day is the same. And he starts having his own mental breakdown and yelling at his patients. And he decides that, he decides to go on a journey around the world to try to find out what happiness actually is. As he explains later, he doesn't really know why he did it because he didn't bother to explain to himself why he did it. But I think it's just, he ran away. So yeah, it's kind of in some ways is a retracing of Batman Begins, I guess, because he goes off to try to find people on top of mountains to tell them what happiness is. And then he goes to Africa and meets. I just realized that the drug thing in Africa. Okay, so he meets drug people in Africa while he's there working at as a doctor, because he's a doctor, and ends up in L.A. So it's this whole journey of a man going around and meeting different people and trying to figure out what happiness is, and he writes these little pithy things about what he thinks happiness might be. Almost cheats on his girlfriend, but not quite. And in the end, breaks up with his girlfriend, gets back together, and finally figures out, I think, what happiness really is to him. I ought to say throughout this entire movie, it kind of goes back and forth on me on a couple different problems. I mean, it's an actual real movie. It kind of lands into this gray area for me of, how does it actually fit into our usual grading scale? But at the same time, I just love this movie too much. I'm just going to give it a Schnikes and be done with it.
Okay, Schnikes from Colin. I'll go next, Mike. All right, so this movie, for me, it was kind of a little bit of a mashup of Welcome to Marwen and The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Really, I saw a lot of, kind of those themes in this movie, right? Where it was this guy, and you got to, and I will also say it was like One Crazy Summer, because you got to see all these animated drawings coming to life and him living through the drawings a little bit and taking notes and stuff like that. So, I mean, it had all those little elements of him going on this adventure of self-discovery, and that was kind of interesting. It was neat to go along with him on this journey, and I don't think he almost slept with the Asian woman. I believe he actually did sleep with the Asian woman, because the little quote of allowing yourself to love two women and holding boobies on either side. I'm pretty sure that he slept with her. Could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think he did. Plus the fact that she was a hooker. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. I don't think so though. But anyway, it was interesting, and I hope I never sit next to him on a plane. Let me put that just out there as well, because that would have annoyed the ever-living crap out of me. And there's a reason why we have zippers, not Velcro, on shirts now for safari shirts. But I thought a lot of good supporting characters in this. Jean Reno, liked him a lot. He played a great drug lord. Christopher Plummer was good in here. I've seen him before in a lot of other things. And I don't know what the name was, but the rich guy that he was next to on the plane, he's been in several other films that I liked. Or maybe they weren't films, maybe they were Hallmark movies. I don't know. But anyway, saw him, liked him. And so it was a good movie overall, but it did remind me a lot of The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, where he, there's this high, low, and then come back to the beginning again. I really enjoyed the beginning, though, when he's basically falling down like Kurt Russell, and he goes ape-s on his patients. That to me was the funniest part of the whole damn movie. Because I could imagine being a psychiatrist and wanting to do that all the freaking time, especially when she says she's at the end of her rope. Because So with that said, I did feel like this movie drug along at places, and I know Mike's going to say that's because it's British and that's all the Brits know how to do is drag a movie along, much like this review. But I'm going to go ahead and I will give it just a grin, just a regular grin. That's it for me. All right, Mike, you're up. Do it for Queen and Country.
All right. Let me just say right from the start that if this turns out to be a musical, I swear to 5-pound, 7-ounce baby Jesus that I'm going to get in the truck and start driving to Springfield. Y'all got a 12-hour head start to hide. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. The whole dream sequence in the very beginning when the dog falls out the airplane, I was a little... And don't trust his girlfriend, all right? I haven't trusted her since Gone Girl. I'm just saying. Now I understand about the airplane flying comes from it. Why would you keep a picture from your past like that in your sock basket? Not drawer. We're going to circle back to this one, where your girlfriend can find it so easily. And of all the places in the world he wants to go, China? Really? Horrible timing on this one, guys. But seeing him walk through the streets with Edward, I can see the appeal of China. I mean, it would be interesting, perhaps, or maybe Japan instead, but the appeal is there. So now I'm questioning if this girl that he meets in the bar is just a friendly person, or is she a hooker? Here I am thinking to myself, am I being a bastard in even thinking that? Or have I seen The Cable Guy one too many times? Or am I just cynical that a girl like her would never be interested in a guy like him? Question. If she was a hooker, and I paused here to make sure I didn't find out before asking the question, would he still have to pay her if he fell asleep before any acts happened? Which one of you two guys are going to answer that one for me?
Yes.
We'll come back to you. Okay. How did I know it would be Shaggy? I hate it when I'm right. Yep, now the whole story is going to flip because he's falling for the hooker and he sees the other side. Now I'm starting to think that Colin and Hector actually would be tremendous friends. Not because he's British, but it seems like he has an incredible collection of pens that each has a story behind it. And now I'm bothered by the fact that this guy is using Skype between two different continents on computers that are slightly better than the GIMP Special. And he has less lag than our goddamn stream that goes out to Facebook. In case you didn't know, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not. I'm not a relationship expert either. But even I know that you never ask an ex about what might have been, or even think about what might have been with an ex. They're an ex for a reason. Move on. Doesn't mean that you can't be friends with them. However, that has never happened for me in my life. I have zero contact with any of my exes. So, listen, puke to shnikes. This did not turn out to be nearly as British as I feared it would. So there was that. I am going to give this one a big old belly laugh. It was a good watch. It turned out to be better than I expected. It was up, it was down, it was actually much better. So, belly laugh, I think, is more than fair.
All right. Okay. Now,
I think Mike agrees with me that Hector fell asleep
okay.
and then woke up and found her naked in the bed and then covered her with a blanket and went back to sleep.
And
so
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they didn't sleep together.
I do have my 15 rules or notes that he had.
Oh, goody.
Making comparisons can spoil your happiness.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think happiness means being richer or more important. Okay, it kind of resonates or boils down to money doesn't buy happiness. Many people only see happiness in their future. Okay. Happiness could be the freedom to love more than one woman at the same time. Sometimes happiness is not knowing the whole story. Okay. Avoiding unhappiness is not the road to happiness. That's some deep shit right there.
Yeah.
Does this person bring you predominantly up or down? That's deep as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I've told people when asked the question, if a person doesn't make your life better, there's no reason for them to be in it. Happiness is answering your calling. Happiness is being loved for who you are. Sweet potato stew.
Mm-hmm.
Fear is an impediment to happiness. Happiness is feeling completely alive. Happiness is knowing how to celebrate. Listening is loving, and nostalgia is not what it used to be. That one I don't quite understand, but okay.
Well, she told him that
maybe,
when they were at the beach. Because he said it had changed
maybe
a lot.
Maybe that translates to when I went back and watched Voltron, Defender of the Universe, and realized that the cartoon I loved as a child actually sucks.
Yeah. Well, that's any time that you watch something that you loved as a child.
All right. We've avoided it long enough.
All right. Now it is time for Llamageddon, which was it was not a random selection. This was basically a special request by Mike. Which is why he's eating the hot chips.
I'm punishing myself.
You know. So, Colin, we will go to you first for Llamageddon.
Okay, Llamageddon. So, Llamageddon is a schnackes-inducing animated film. So it starts off with this world with these alien llamas on it. And they're all marching along, and they are building spaceships that look like trailers. And they're getting into these spaceship trailers and blasting off into space. It's never really said why they're doing that, but they are. And this kind of marching along, I thought the animation was actually pretty good, and I enjoyed that a lot. Now, there was some kind of egg thing, and the egg cracked open, and an evil llama copy came out. So I wasn't quite sure if they were supposed to be like, this is like an Aliens type copy of the llamas that came out of this egg. That's my interpretation, since none of the other llamas have red eyes. So this evil llama then gets into the trailer spaceships and blasts off and goes through space and gets close to Earth. and actually runs into a satellite where some astronauts are working, and so they get killed because the llama goes through and kills them. But then because it hit the satellite, then it plummets to Earth and crash lands. And so that was Llamageddon, the animated movie. I thought it was great. That gets a Schneikes. Unfortunately, following this nice little animated clip is one of the worst movies ever made. Because they go from this nice animated thing to this live-action movie with bad acting is fine. I can deal with bad acting. Annoying acting, that's harder to deal with. You know, when you're actively wanting the evil llama to kill somebody so you can stop hearing them talk, and then they never actually get killed, it's a problem. So to me, this is a terrible movie just because the character I wanted killed never gets killed. Now, so the evil llama lands on Earth. Now, in the actual live-action movie, the evil llama is played by, it's just a llama, and all they do is they made the llama's eyes red in post-production. Otherwise, it's just a llama, and it just walks around doing llama things. They pretend that this llama is killing people, and it kills a couple people, and then most of the cast. It kills off an older couple who are supposed to be the grandparents of the annoying guy that I just wanted to get killed. And they just create a party at the grandparents' house. Because, that's what everybody does after their grandparents die, is decide to have a big frat party or sorority party. Anyway, college party at the old farmstead. So it gets filled with basically all of the friends of the director from school, and then some are better at acting than others. I'll just say, if you ever want to show somebody in a movie what continuity is, this is the movie to show them. I mean, there's a scene with the sister of the annoying guy is on the phone calling everybody to come to the party. Okay. And she's probably calling, 100 people. And her hair changes 100 times. Well, sometimes it's parted on the left, sometimes it's parted on the right, sometimes the part's down the middle. They could not get the hair to stay the same for every single phone call that she's making. There's other characters who change shirts multiple times in the same scene. It's ridiculous. Now, because they had so many people, most of them just get killed by putting them into a hot tub and then electrifying them so they all get shocked to death, which is also one of the worst scenes. It's just terrible. Everything in this movie is terrible, although I laughed a lot at it. That's the only thing that keeps this from being a kill with fire, is it did make me laugh a lot. But I was laughing at it, not with it. So I'm still going to give it a puke.
All right. My turn. Okay, so a lot of these comments are going to be in no specific order. So you'll have to endure the 1 hour 4 if you want to find out what order they're in. Which, thank God this movie isn't longer. Let me just say that. At least I only had to endure an hour and about 4 minutes. So, first off, Colin kind of touched on this heavy metal style animation at the beginning. I dug that. And they had it sprinkled a couple of times in there too, and during the show. Just make it all that. All right, then you don't have to pay any SAG money. All right, just make it animation. You could do that and we'd be fine. All right. How could she make 100 calls to invite people? And by the way, the variety of names was impressive. And then suddenly later in the movie, no bars. Absolutely no bars. None. That is incredible. Colin also mentioned this. The longest electrocution scene in the history of movies. I mean, really, this was worse than when they forgot to wet the sponge. All right? That's how long this electrocution took. And hopefully you get that reference. I'm sorry, but the brother got laid by the wrong girl. Just because if you're going to set somebody up to get laid, make it the hot one. We want to watch them get laid by the hot one. All right? That's just the way that it works in these movies. If you're going to have a terrible movie, you need the hot girl to get nasty. That's the way that this works if you want any viewership at all. Drinking shots of hard liquor to deal with the electrocution of all of your friends. That is the solution to all of your problems, is just drink more. Yes, that's the way that it works. And then the brother's complete lack of empathy over anything because now he's a man because he got some poon. Llama mutation caused by snot blast. All right. What is this? Lavalantula 2? I mean, it took way too long. It was horrible effects. And at one point, I think I saw a piece of rope that held the like fur onto the guy's arm. All right. I know you shot this for $1.75. Somebody could have thrown in another quarter for some Velcro. All right. By the way, also on the porch, speaking of the porch scene, worst puke effect ever. Line the hose up with the guy's mouth, for Christ's sakes. Come on. And then, I got a real question here. How many Super Soakers full of cherry syrup did they have on set? Because it had to have been 50 or more. I mean, they were just letting that syrup fly. Because everywhere. The llama shot somebody with laser eyes, and you saw them explode into a fireball. But yet, here's a tidal wave of fruit punch that comes at like these 4 people. Incineration and waves of blood don't go together. Get your special effects together, all right? And then Dad mowing him over with a combine at the end. And the stupid question of how'd you know that would kill it? Well, if it'll take off a farmer's arm, it'll probably kill a llama. That's a pretty good, guess. So, for me, this show killed a few brain cells and wasted about an hour and 4. So I'm going to give this a puke, but I'm going to give it a caveat. Try again. All right? If you come out with a Llamageddon 2, all right, like Llama More or Llama Mia, then maybe we'll watch it. But you got to spend more money. All right? If you need some technical consultation, we're here for you. We've watched a lot of this. All right? We can help. Executive producer credit is all that we ask. You can just name the show. All right, so puke for me. All right, Mike, it's up to you. Bring it home.
All right, so listen. First of all, I want to be real clear about something. The brother that everybody hates in this movie, one of the writers. Very, very possible that he is the one responsible for the Llamageddon Twitter account. Sorry, not sorry. Movie's barely an hour, so I don't feel like I'm wasting a lot of time by watching this, right? Side note, I told my neighbor that we were reviewing this. As soon as the word Llamageddon came out of my mouth, I don't think I've ever heard a grown man laugh so hard just from a title without the use of pharmaceuticals. But this movie isn't even llama gone bad. This movie, like Zombies, right? Okay, Zombies may have set the bar for bad animal movie that we reviewed. Because Sharknado is in a class by itself. Right?
Yeah.
Zombies, maybe Lavalantula. This isn't even llama gone bad. This is llama from another planet. So why do I feel like this is the less believable option? Let's take bets. Who dies first, sister or brother? And where'd the dog come from? What happened to the dog? There's a dog walking around on the porch. Now the dog's gone. Did the dog die? I need to know. Is the dog alive? Where's the dog? And why is there an exercise bike on the porch? Who exercises on the porch? Now, okay, Colin, what was the budget on this movie? And was it a Kickstarter? I couldn't find it. You're good with stuff like that. What is going on? What is this dance?
$3,000.
What's this dancing? How much?
$3,000 from one of their professors.
Oh, dear Lord. Okay, so llamas with frickin' laser beams from their eyes. Alpaca bowl for you. And then the guy just froze. Seriously, I thought my connection was buffering. He's like,
I did too.
Alpaca bowl for you. And I'm like, don't get the alien llama stoned. What kind of idiot are you? Alien llama with the munchies. Are you really that stupid? Because Dan's shirt keeps changing. Depending on what room he's in. Is anyone paying attention here? And when did Cody shave? What did I miss? The guy's got a beard. Now he don't. Now he's got a beard again. The hot tub scene did serve a purpose. It clearly demonstrates why GFCI outlets are required within 3 feet of a water source. It would prevent arcs of electricity. Well, I don't think there would be arcs of electricity. How dumb are these two getting into the hot tub? There is lightning coming out of the hot tub. And they decide they want to get into the hot tub. How dumb is dumb? Dan's shirt just changed again. And it changed again. Now she's got no signal. But when she's calling all of these chodes to come to the party, she's got 4 bars. Another shirt change. I keep telling myself that there's not that much longer to go in this movie, that I'm not going to tap out. And wait, did this llama just spit acid on No, it's not acid, because that would make sense. No, he's turning into a llama now. Guess what? Another shirt. I'm starting to feel like DJ Khaled here. Dan, you got another one. Another one. Another one. And where did he get a cigarette when he changed shirts this time? So what do you do when you have no money for transformation effects? You switch to animation, of course. NASA was there. Now, in the beginning, NASA was there. They left the space trailer in the middle of the field where Dan finds a wiffle ball bat wrapped in foil. Another one. Wait, a Star Trek shirt? Now, hindsight is 20/20. I get that, of course. However, there was an incredible missed opportunity here to have Dan wearing a red Star Trek shirt to symbolize what was about to happen. So, puke to Schnikes, okay? This is going to get a puke. I honestly have no way to justify giving this anything but a... Hold on. I could have skipped to the credits and watched this entire movie in time-lapse on the left side of the credits and figured out everything that was going on in 2 minutes, complete with a rap that is a Cliff Notes version of the entire movie? Seriously? You put bloopers and stuff at the end, not the synopsis. You know what? Because of that, you just earned to kill it with fire. Okay? And best I can tell, Dan's shirt changed 22 friggin' times in an hour. A little over an hour. The movie was 69 minutes long. Of course it had to be to go along with the damn humor in this movie. But yeah, kill it with fire. And you're out your ever-loving mind asking for a sequel.
They have a name for the sequel.
You know what? I don't care who's paying for it. I'm getting paid. They had what?
There's a name for the sequel. Alpacalypse. Yeah, the reason they said the reason why they made Llamageddon and not Alpacalypse in the first place is because they had a llama, not an alpaca.
Alpacalypse. I gotta. If Llamageddon is out there, I gotta look and see if Alpacalypse actually.
Oh, they haven't made it yet. But when they were doing interviews when this first came out, that was
interviews. Interviews. Who's interviewing?
There's kind of stuff on this thing. Yeah. I will say for people who like bad movies, you definitely need to watch Llamageddon. But it's not good. It's not good.
Oh, all right. Well, we need to find a couple of other movies for the next show. So, Mike,
if anybody from Llamageddon was watching this, whoever did the animation, do more of that. I would watch like an entire hour of that animation doing something. I enjoyed that.
So are we 1 to 50, Mike, or?
Still trying to figure out exactly what to. Yeah, 1 to 50.
1 to 50. Okay, sorry. $40.
Okay, this one is going to be a good one.
Okay. I look forward to it.
I have long been hoping that this thing would show up somewhere, and it did. Let me just make sure it's still available. Please still be available. Okay. On YouTube.
Okay.
Once Bitten.
Oh, yeah. I know this one.
Yeah.
This is Jim Carrey's Zardoz.
Yep. It's the movie Jim Carrey will
it.
not speak of.
Yes.
So we've all seen it.
But we haven't seen it recently.
It's been a long time.
Yes.
No.
So
this will be good.
this will be a good one.
All right. And 43.
Where are you? Hold on.
Yes, I do believe this is one of the ones I put on there, so I can take ownership of this one.
Yes. This is a Netflix original, Outside the Wire.
Oh. That is a British musical, if I remember correctly.
I described this
fight
one
you.
as New Captain America as an android.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yep. I just wanted to see if we get Mike worked up. Yes.
No, unfortunately, Mike is looking at the sheet.
Yes,
right?
this is Guys and Dolls, but British with subtitles. This is
March
a Bollywood
7th.
This is a Bollywood Guys and Dolls. That's what this is.
Okay, so you're saying, Shaggy, that we need to go back through the list and change some of the descriptions.
Just to mess with Mike. Oh no! All right.
You can try. You can try.
Oh man. So
Anna in the Apocalypse, I will never be. I don't think I'll ever be more scarred.
Oh, well, we want to thank everybody for tuning in and checking out the show. Don't forget, if you guys actually have any movie suggestions that you want to add to our list, you can always send them to us, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, whatever. Just post them on a video or send us a message, and we will, if it's not something we've watched before, we will add it to our list. But, just be warned that we will give it a fair shake. And we will let you know if it's something that we've watched before or not. And at this point, I think just in the spreadsheet that Mike is keeping, we have 3 years worth of reviews there. And so, we've been doing this for a while, and we've been letting you guys know what's worth watching and what's not. But we want to thank everybody for tuning in and for helping grow the show. Don't forget to tell your friends, if you have any still. As you're entering the real world again, make sure that you let them know what you listen to while you are counting down the days where you can get back outside. PTR Radio, we're here, and there's lots for you to listen to in the back catalog if you want. Over 10 years of previous shows. If you subscribe to our podcast, you can go to ptrradio.com to find all that out, or just tune into our social networks, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, all that fun stuff. Lately, you've been seeing a lot of pictures of my dogs. But that's what we do. We're not those type of influencers where we're going to post a lot of selfies or anything like that. You're going to see our animals. And for a lot of people, it's probably better that way. So, hey, I do have some good news. I will have a trivia night coming up in about a couple of months that I'm going to be hosting. So we're getting back out there, starting to do a few things. Yep, so March 9th, I will be out in Buffalo, Illinois. So I'll let you know when you can buy tickets for that. But that is going to happen on March 9th. And that'll be a good time fundraiser for the Tri-City Library. So, yep, as we get back out there, we want to thank everybody again. Like I said, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back in 2 weeks. 2 weeks is going to put us right at March 7th. So don't forget to tune in. In the meantime, I'm Shaggy.
I'm Colin.
I am Mike the Ape Man.
Stick a fork in us, folks. We are done. Later.